Hello, good evening, and welcome to the National News on Teamset 94.1 FM. My name is Olamide Tejuosho. First, the highlights. ECOWAS leaders hold extraordinary summit tomorrow. Ekiti records first COVID-19 death as Edo records second death from the virus. Osun State government refused discharging last coronavirus patient. Federal government disowns November resumption for schools. Police to investigate alleged assault on lawyers with disabilities in Abuja. Freed Bauchi governor's elder brother says he pays 50 million naira ransom. And now the news in detail. Authorities of Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, heads of state and government, will tomorrow hold an extraordinary session through video conference. The regional leaders, according to a statement by the Communications Department of the ECOWAS Commission, will be discussing the situation and impact of the coronavirus pandemic, COVID-19, in the ECOWAS region. The meeting will be coming just days after an extraordinary summit of the ministers in charge of finance and the governors of central banks of the regional body. ECOWAS had supported its members by making available financial support in addition to assistance from international partners for the purchase of medical supplies and other essential equipment, all in a bid to halt the spread of the virus. The World Health Organization (WHO) Regional Office for Africa in Brazzaville, Congo, has said the number of coronavirus COVID-19 cases in Africa had risen to over 24,000 in the past 24 hours. The United Nations Health Agency gave the update on its official Twitter account today. The WHO African Region COVID-19 dashboard showed that in sub-Saharan Africa, South Africa suffers the most severe outbreak, while Cameroon and Ghana have more than 2,000 confirmed cases. The figures on the dashboard show that South Africa has 3,465 cases and 58 deaths, followed by Algeria with 2,811 cases and 392 deaths, while Cameroon has 1,163 cases with 43 deaths. According to the dashboard, South Sudan, Sao Tome and Principe, Mauritania and the Gambia are countries with lowest confirmed cases in the region. Also, the dashboard shows that Nigeria is number 9 among the countries with the highest cases, with 541 confirmed cases and 19 deaths. Giving an update, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control (NCDC) announced that another 117 new cases of COVID-19 were confirmed in the last 24 hours, bringing to 782 the number of confirmed cases in the country. Meanwhile, Ekiti State has recorded its first death from the COVID-19 infection. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Mojisola Yahaya Kolade, confirmed the news at a press briefing today. She explained that the deceased was a 29-year-old pregnant community health worker who beat the curfew in operation to arrive at the state from Lagos close to her delivery date. Dr. Yahaya Kolade further added that the patient went through a cesarean section for delivery at a private hospital in the state, adding that she suffered a cardiac arrest and was referred to a federal teaching hospital where she died this morning. In the same vein, the Edo State Commissioner for Health, Patrick Okundia, today confirmed the death of another COVID-19 patient in the state, bringing the number of deaths from the disease in the state to 2. Okundia, who confirmed the death of the patients to journalists in Benin, described it as unfortunate. He said the deceased was a 57-year-old police officer. In another development, the state government of Osun has denied it discharged the last COVID-19 patient in the state. Dr. Rafiu Isamoto, the Commissioner for Health, stated this in an interview with journalists today. The commissioner said the state would also use the opportunity of the visits of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control (NCDC) officials to the state to correct the figures on Osun cases from 20 to 19, as contained in the state Ministry of Health records. Reports from various parts of the state indicate the anxiety of residents to be notified on the discharge of the last COVID-19 case, which might make the government consider the review of the ongoing second phase of 14 days lockdown on the state to prevent the spread of the novel virus. Meanwhile, Osun State government has mounted barricades at all boundaries and major roads of the state to ensure total compliance with its lockdown directive as part of the measure to curb the spread of coronavirus. According to a statement by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Mr. Ismail Omikpido, the Commissioner for Information and Civic Orientation, Mrs. Funke Egbemode, said the step is imperative to enforce compliance to 14 days lockdown directive issued by the state government. The barricades will only be opened to essential duty vehicles conveying materials needed for the fight against COVID-19. Corroborating Egbemode, the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Mr. Adeleke Yekini Adebayo, who is also a member of the state COVID-19 task force, noted that the government installed physical barricades at its boundaries to ensure the safety of its citizens, stressing that the action was to prevent human and vehicular movements from neighboring states with an increasing number of COVID-19 cases. He said that the laws guiding the operation of the total lockdown and the general security of the people remain in force, adding that relevant security agencies are on the alert to ensure total compliance of the regulation and guarantee safety and security of the people. In the meantime, the newly established testing center for COVID-19 in Kano State has been suspended for operation. The director of the Center for Infectious Diseases Research, Amimu Kano Teaching Hospital, AKTH, Issa Abubakar, who confirmed this to journalists today, said the center had run out of test kits. Abubakar added that the center would remain closed until new test kits are supplied from Abuja, the nation's capital. He added that samples taken in Kano will be sent to Abuja for testing, pending the resumption of operation at the Kano Testing Center. During the temporary closure, the laboratory will be fumigated as part of the routine biosafety measures to ensure the safety of staff and the environment. AKTH Testing Center for COVID-19 was established a few weeks ago by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, to contain the spread of the deadly virus in Kano State. The federal government has disowned a social media post which stated that primary and secondary schools nationwide will be resuming by November 2020 as a result of the spread of coronavirus pandemic. The government also declared a manhunt for the author of the fake press release, which was circulating on the social media today. In a statement in Abuja, the Director of Press, Federal Ministry of Education, Mr. Ben Gung, urged Nigerians to disregard the fake notice, saying the author was believed to be mentally unstable. Gung explains that the Minister of Education, Adamu Adamu, could not have signed a press release where the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Sonny Echono, granted an interview to a reporter from an online medium as stated in the fake release. You're listening to Timsat National News, coming to you from Timsat 94.1 FM, transmitting from Ile-Ajin, Okeagboja, Ijebu-Jesha in the state of Osun, Nigeria. You're welcome back, and now to the rest of the news. The All Progressives Congress (APC) Mboyin chapter has commended President Muhammadu Buhari for his proactive actions in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria. Mr. Eze Nwachukwu, at a press briefing today in Abakaliki, said that the proactive steps taken by the Buhari-led government were commendable. Nwachukwu said that the emergence of test centers for COVID-19 in Nigeria showed the president's commitment and leadership to Nigerians. He also commended the state governor, Chief Dave Umahi, for his resilience in the fight against the disease and ensuring that no case of the virus has been recorded in Ebonyi. The APC chieftain, however, appealed to the governor to relax the ban on the use of motorcycle in all parts of the state, urging him to limit the ban to the border areas. He applauded Ebonyi government for closing the borders and called for strict enforcement of the closure to stem illegal movement of persons in and out of the state. Former Kaduna lawmaker Senator Shehu Sani has warned of the dire consequences of deporting Almajiris to their states of origin. Kano State Governor Umar Ganduje yesterday approved the deportation of Almajiris to their respective states of origin as part of measures to curb the spread of coronavirus in Kano State. His move has been met with criticisms from all quarters, as some believe this will increase the spread of coronavirus in communities. Reacting, Sani, in a post on his Twitter page, warned that the deportation of Almajiris to their villages will increase insecurity in the future. According to him, the Almajiris without education will return as bandits and insurgents. Meanwhile, the police command in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, has ordered a probe into an alleged assault on members of the Association of Lawyers with Disabilities, ALDIN. Police Public Relations Officer PPRO DSP Anjurugi Manza confirmed the investigation to journalists today. Aldin had, in a statement co-signed by its president Daniel Onwe and General Secretary Gaius Ongan, raised an alarm. They alleged that policemen brutalized their members distributing palliatives in Abuja. The statement said the incident happened on the 19th of this month at a 2 Onge Junction beside Infinix Supermarket in the Kubwa area of Abuja. The association vowed to go to any length to ensure that justice is served to those involved. Aldin appealed to the Inspector General of Police and the FCT Police Commissioner to ensure that the culprits are fished out and made to face the full weight of the law. The lawyers added that the Nigerian Bar Association (NBA) has been notified of the assaults. Away from coronavirus updates, in line with the pledge made by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to victims of the March 15 Abule Ado explosions, Lagos State government has commenced the disbursement to next of kin of those who died in the disaster. 23 persons were confirmed dead, 586 displaced, and hundreds of properties destroyed in the multiple blasts said to have been caused by pipeline rupture. although effects of the devastation were felt as far as Surulere, Fesaktan, Okota, Egbeda, among others, where properties allegedly affected. The major destruction occurred in Abule Soba axis, where scores of buildings scattered across 7 streets were completely leveled. During an on-the-spot visit to the area, Sanwo-Olu announced a 25 billion naira relief fund for the victims to be disbursed by a committee headed by his deputy, Obafemi Hamzat. Announcing the commencement of the disbursement through text message, the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, said it followed the approval of the State Executive Council. LASEMA Director General DG Dr. Femi Oke Osoyintolu, who signed the notice, said the disbursement will commence today at the Deputy Governor's office in Alausa. Governors of northern states in Nigeria said armed attacks targeting region could cause serious food insecurity in the north. The governors, in a teleconference with the Minister of Agriculture, lamented that farmers in the region are now afraid to go to their farms due to attacks by armed bandits, Boko Haram insurgents, kidnappers, cattle rustlers, and other criminals that have made life unbearable for the people. The governors appealed for federal government incentives as well as security for farmers in the region. Led by the chairman, NGF Simon Lalong, the meeting resolved to turn the economic challenges posed by the coronavirus pandemic into opportunities for diversification and emancipation of the region. The governors had, during the first teleconference last 2 weeks, agreed to explore revenue options outside oil. Agriculture and solid mineral sector were the main targets in the planned diversification program. The elder brother of Governor Bala Muhammad of Bauchi State, Alhaji Adamu Muhammad Duguri, has recounted his ordeals in the hands of kidnappers. He declares that 50 million naira ransom was paid to secure his release. Duguri, who regained freedom after spending 13 days in kidnappers' den, said security agents had no hand in his release, contrary to belief that he was rescued by security personnel in the state. Called that Duguri was kidnapped by 4 gunmen at a tailoring shop at Unguwa Jaki area of Bauchi Metropolis. The gunmen, who were said to be armed with AK-47 rifles, whisked him to an unknown destination. But the police public relations officer, Bauchi State Police Command, DSP Kamal Abubakar, confirmed his release to journalists on the 7th of this month. A 65-year-old retired customs officer who spoke for the first time on his abduction said his abductors initially demanded for 350 million naira before they later agreed to accept 50 million naira. Duguri, who owns the traditional title of Wakinli Bauchi, said the 4-man kidnap syndicate was educated and well coordinated in such a way that they could not be traced by security agents. Before I go, here again are the highlights. ECOWAS leaders hold extraordinary summit tomorrow. Ekiti records first COVID-19 deaths as Edo records second deaths from the virus. Osun State government refused discharging last coronavirus patient. Federal government disowns November resumption for schools. Police to investigate alleged assault on lawyers with disabilities in Abuja. And finally, freed Bauchi governor's elder brother says he paid 50 million naira ransom. And that ends the national news, read by Olamide Tejuosho and packaged by Afolabi Koka. Good evening and thanks for listening.